Welcome to the Tough Decisions Network for Entrepreneurs. I'm Dan Handford, and my wife, Dennae, and I interview successful people sharing stories behind tough decisions that they've had to make along their journey as an entrepreneur. On the podcast with us today is Lance Essihos. Lance, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Hi, Lance. We appreciate your time and energy that you put into sitting down with us and talking with us today. So we want you to start us off by telling us a little bit about your journey as an entrepreneur and where your focus is right now.
All right. Well, my journey as an entrepreneur started probably about 2 years ago. Before that, I was in Australia running bars. I was in basically bartending and running bars for most of my 20s for about 10 years. And then I decided to get out of that industry at the end of 2017. And I decided to pursue something that was more fulfilling and something that would give me something that I could serve others with. And I just kind of started looking around, and I started seeing people having success online with different things. And I didn't really believe how it was possible. So I started to investigate. I looked out to a mentor of mine, a good friend of mine who was doing well in the space. And then I started to dig and I started to learn, and then things just led to another. And then I started to really want to work on my personal development, because the more I started to dive into the industry, the more I realized that was super important. So I've been doing affiliate marketing. I've been doing a lot of building all my social media platforms. I started a podcast, which has been super powerful for me as well. And basically it's just, for me, is giving as much value as I can without expectation and trying to build something that is a legacy business and is fulfilling to me, and I can be a service to others. So,
Well, I want you to get us started today and talk about a tough decision that you've had to face as an entrepreneur. And I like to start off with one that I call the sore thumb tough decision. So it's a tough decision that you had to make, and it didn't have that good of an outcome. Now, it doesn't mean it was bad that you went through it. It just means we want to talk about some of the lessons you learned through it, because obviously you went through that for a reason. So let's talk about that tough decision and the bad outcome and some of the lessons you learned through it.
Yeah, absolutely. So a tough decision is always, in this space, you're comparing yourself to others. So as soon as you get into it, you obviously want to model success, but sometimes you value other people's success too much, and you try to do what they're doing, and it's not always successful. So I really feel like, for me, I had to make the decision and kind of follow my heart and create my own path in this journey, because everybody has their own path. And if everybody's copying everybody, then it turns into a big mess. So for me, at first, I was sort of trying to follow the people doing really well, but then it wasn't my own voice. It wasn't being unique to me. And once I decided to really switch and start to really come from a place of a passion and from my heart, and kind of build what I want to build and what I feel is right for me, and I'm the best service to others, that's where things started to shift for me. So that decision, deciding to kind of follow my own path, was definitely big.
And would you say that had a bad outcome?
Well, no, initially I didn't have the success that I would have liked to have, because I feel like I wasn't being true to myself. And now that I'm being more true to myself, I feel like the outcome has changed. So yes, to answer your question, the success that I probably should have had faster, like some other people, probably would have happened if I, sort of went with my gut on things. But
let's open this up a little bit, because I want to kind of dive in a little bit deeper on this to kind of figure out what were some things at that time that were holding you back from making the decision to pursue the things that have allowed you to have the success that you have now.
Well, basically, when you're on social media and you're doing social media advertising, you're constantly seeing other people doing things, and it almost makes you feel like you're not doing enough. So for me, I just decided to kind of build my own path. And what happens is sometimes you feel like you have to do what other people are doing in order to be successful. And you feel like you need to sort of follow their footsteps and almost replicate what they're doing. And if you don't, you won't be successful. So I feel that social media, it can be very distracting. It's great, but it can be distracting. So you kind of have to forget about others. You kind of have to use them as a model, but you have to understand that you're your own person and you have to build what you want from your gut. And a lot of times things that I wanted to say, doing Facebook lives or posts, I didn't want to say it because I felt I didn't have the success to say it. But really, if I had said it from my heart, that's kind of what the whole point is. And it allows you to not hold back when you follow your heart, right? So a lot of times entrepreneurs are scared to say or do what they really feel because they feel that they don't have the confidence or they don't have the success yet to be able to, speak their real thoughts.
Yeah, I would say that a lot of people say, "Well, I'm not an expert yet," and the thing you have to think about is that the definition of an expert is being in a room with somebody else that doesn't know as much as you about a certain topic. In their eyes, you're an expert. So you just have the expert level of maybe say Russell Brunson or Ryan Dice or one of those other big time marketers, but you definitely would have more of an expertise than a lot of other people. You will attract the people that you want to be around. And I think one of the things we just did a recent podcast on was telling your story. I think people that can, if you start to tell your story more, they'll connect with you more, and that allows you to be able to even more speak from your heart.
Yeah, I really think it's just about being yourself, and everybody has a unique voice, and everybody needs to be heard, and somebody needs to hear you. It's just, we're all humans, we're all connecting with each other, and you just need to be able to be comfortable with you. And the confidence comes. It's funny because you learn, I look back 18 months ago, 2 years ago, and I realize, I go, man, I've learned a lot and I've come a long way. And it's not like something's telling you like, oh, well, I'm an expert now, but you become confident and you realize the growth you've had. And that's just what happens, right? And, the higher level of people that you surround yourself with, the higher you become and you attract. And just like you said, so.
Yeah, so let's shift a little bit here and talk about another tough decision that you had to make as an entrepreneur that had a really good and positive outcome and some of those lessons.
Well, it's in the process right now. I mean, maybe if we, chat in a year or so, we'll be able to answer that one a little bit better. But, I've made the choice to kind of go the way of building my personal brand for the long term. I may have not had as much short-term success, but for me, I'm not going anywhere. And this is going to be a long-term game for me. And it's super important to build all the areas in the foundation. That's why I've been really building my podcast, because I want to be able to get people's messages out there and give value. And I feel like that's kind of the value that I'm putting out. I feel like it'll come back in return. Not that that's what I'm doing it for, but I feel like the more I can share people's stories, the more value that I can give, the more that'll build credibility and trust for me, because, I'm an open book, and what I'm doing is I'm sharing my life and I'm being as positive and trying to be inspiring to people. So I'm expecting the things that I'm building now, the choices I'm making now to come back, tenfold down the road.
So Lance, this might be a question that you could better answer, a year, 18 months from now as well, but maybe you can also give us some insight from someone who's right in the middle of it as well. How do you maintain a patience or an endurance in this sort of brand building, personal brand building, when you don't see a lot of results right away?
That's a great question. And I love that, because everybody needs to understand that that's the reality of it. And that's another thing is we think people are having so much success because people are posting, but there's a lot of people that aren't having success right away. And for me, I just go realistically. This is the thing with goals too. Sometimes with goals, we get so fixed on the outcome that we forget about what the small wins are, right? You got to have your goal and forget about it. And then you focus on the win. So I feel if I can every day realize that I've put in what I can, done my best for that day, gone through my routine, done what I can, that's all I can ask for. And I truly believe that, with, implementing meditation and gratitude and exercise, it keeps my head calm. Sometimes I'll get frustrated, but then I know I need to change my state, go exercise. So those are the things I'm going up and down throughout my day, but I'm getting control of it by, really just understanding, well, what do I have to do? Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about yesterday's gone. So really focus on your daily method of operations, your routine, what you have to do. And usually you'll be satisfied with your outcome because that's all that can happen, right? We get upset when we know we haven't done our best and we haven't hit our goal. So I just try and focus on the daily method of operations to answer your question.
All right, talk a little bit about some of the strategies that you use when you are facing difficult decisions. How do you approach that decision, and how do you get to a place where you're comfortable moving in a specific direction?
I just, I kind of put my future self, and I just say, does this align with who I want to be or what I want to do? I believe you should make decisions based on logic, not emotion. A lot of times people make decision on emotion if they're feeling, you should never make decisions, tough ones, especially when you're not feeling your best. I feel like you need to be operating at a high vibration, feeling good to make a big decision. So if I know that I need to make like a game-changing decision, I'm going to make sure that I exercise. I'm going to make sure that I've meditated. I've done all the things so that I am operating at a level that is making the decision in the right place. I will never make a decision if I'm in a bad mood or if I've just not feeling right. And I think that's important to understand that when you are making decisions, you need to be accountable for your state. And Tony Robbins talks about this stuff too. And this is stuff that I didn't realize before, but I've learned when you become an entrepreneur, you learn all your flaws get magnified and you realize what you need to work on. So decisions are super important to make them when you're feeling in the state that you feel aligned with your goals.
We're going to take a quick break and hear from one of our show sponsors. When we come back, we'll talk to Lance about some of his favorites as it relates to his life as an entrepreneur.
Have you ever thought about investing in real estate, but find yourself so busy that you don't have time for it? Do you have FOMO, which is the fear of missing out? At HandfordCapital.com, we help investors with passive real estate investments that project better returns than traditional investment vehicles such as the stock market. If you'd like to find out more about our passive real estate investments, visit HandfordCapital.com. That's HANDFORD capital.com. We will jump on a call with you to discuss your investment goals and to see if our investments are a good fit for you. This advertisement is not to be construed as an offer or recommendation to buy or sell a security. Visit HandfordCapital.com. And we are back, and we're going through this series of quick questions and answers that we call the trifecta. I want you to start us off, Lance, and talk to us about your favorite technology that you use in business that helps make your life easier every day.
Well, I've tried using chat bots with my Facebook. I like them for certain things. They do make it easier because I use them to promote my podcast episodes. So Facebook bots are very powerful, and they can be powerful in marketing as well. You just have to get them right. But they definitely make it easier to be able to automate. Also, with being able to use Calendly to book calls or book my podcast appointments is great as well. I just send the link and it just does the rest for you. So those are definitely things that save time. I know that I would be lost without if I had to write everything down the old school way. So yeah, chatbots and Calendly would be probably my answers for that.
Can you share one favorite quote that you've heard that has helped you as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I believe it was Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world. And I think that's how he says it. That's the thing, is I really just want to strive to be the human to help people and, be the change that I want to see. So if I'm making a change, wanting other people and help people, then I need to be that change. I need to be that example. So I need to do the things and operate that at the level of the person that I want to be. So they need to be aligned. My actions need to be aligned with what I'm saying. And I feel that was the first quote that I actually used when I built my Facebook business page was that. So that one came to me right away. And I believe it's super powerful.
And can you share one favorite book that you have read that has helped you make better decisions as an entrepreneur?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would say that the best book for me that helped me as an entrepreneur would be, it's called Happy Pocket Full of Money. So it's basically breaking down quantum physics as humans and energy and how it has direct correlation with creating wealth. And as far as actual books about decisions, it really comes down to, I really believe decisions is mindset. It all comes down to mindset. So there's different books, but stuff like the book that practices 10 days of gratitude for 28 days was powerful for me. Getting my mindset so that I'm aligned with the right energy has been super powerful for me for making decisions. So I would say Happy Pocket Full of Money was a big game changer for me. And I suggest anybody that is an entrepreneur that wants to learn how energy and those kind of things applied with action. I'm not talking about The Secret where you're going to sit and wish for things. I'm talking about how actually the body is energy and how you can program it so that you attract the energy with the work that you're putting in. So for me, that had a big impact on, everything, including decisions.
And I want you to kind of wrap it up here at the end and talk to us a little bit about what's the next thing for you right now on your vision or your dream board.
To help as many people as I can, to inspire them to basically take action in whatever it is they want to do, right? There's so many people sitting on the fence. They're scared. They're scared to do anything. They're scared to take the trip. They're scared to quit the job, start something new. And I'm not saying do that, irrationally, but I want to be able to inspire people and to show them that it's possible and to be able to provide them with the tools and mentorship and help as many people as I can. And that's truly fulfilling to me. And that's just what I'm going to continue to build through all my platforms and especially through my podcast.
Well, Lance, I really appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to be with us today here on the podcast. How can the listeners reach out to you and follow you more or maybe connect with you on your podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. So all my social media platforms are Lance W. Essihos. I'm highly active on Instagram and Facebook. And my website is lanceessihos.com. And from there, you're going to be able to access University of Adversity, which is my podcast. So it's super powerful at helping people, entrepreneurs, successful people who have been able to overcome adversity and go on to become amazing, do amazing things. So yeah, so Lance W. Essihos is my social media. Lance Essihos is my website, and you can have access to my marketing materials and my podcast through there. Or University of Adversity is my podcast.
Well, Lance, thank you so much again for being here. Looking forward to continuing to follow you as you grow as an entrepreneur as well as on your podcast. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thanks so much. It's been an honor to be on your show. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Tough Decisions Network. Be sure to visit toughdecisions.net to gain access to show notes for this episode and to join our free weekly entrepreneur email where we will send you news about the latest technology for your business, inspiring quotes, and the latest books for entrepreneurs. That's toughdecisions.net.